I want to bring on a guy who is the man when it comes to anything music, movies, anything going on in the city of Los Angeles, city of San Francisco. He lurks. He goes to the clubs. He goes to the art openings. He's a sophisticate, but he's also a man of the people. He's a Giants and Warriors fan. He is someone who comes and goes on a rainbow. How about it for the magnificent Michael Snyder? Michael Snyder, hello.
Hello, and don't forget your San Francisco 49ers, who are back on track, even as the Warriors are in free fall right now. Oh, thank goodness for the Niners, who shellacked the Jacksonville Jaguars on Sunday of last week.
It was good.
It sounded very much like that.
Yeah,
and
all right.
We're excited about the Tampa Bay Bucks coming into Levi Stadium Sunday. Meanwhile, I have to tell you, I'm not in studio with you. I'm broadcasting from an undisclosed location. Okay. It's San Francisco. But I do have to say that it's been kind of crazy here, what with a couple of world leaders hanging out and having their little meet and greet and
was the
dining.
Was the city in knots from a traffic standpoint, or did you enjoy it being cleaned up for the dignitaries?
It was a nightmare. I tried to get like a half a mile, and it took me an hour. It was just nuts.
Wow,
I was in my
that
car.
Right? Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
In the time it would take me to get from, I don't know, Pasadena to Pacific Palisades, I had to go like 10 blocks. It was insane. It was nuts.
Oh, my God.
Nonetheless, we plow forward. We're excited. Thanksgiving is coming up next week, and I will be hopefully on the show with you next Friday. We can talk about how we gorged ourselves, in your case on vegetables, and in my case on tryptophan. And if I'm dozy or dazed next Friday, you will know it was the turkey. It was definitely the turkey.
We are off on Thanksgiving. We are dark, but we are back on Friday. So, yes, we will do a full post-mortem. And I do mean mortem because, sadly, that bird gave its life for your feast.
I know. I will be drenched in guilt and gravy when I see you next time. But let's get
Randy
down to
says,
movie.
the Warriors are struggling right now. Curry is out. Green is suspended. Thompson seems in decline. Wiggins is just awful offensively. Thank you, Randy.
I may not agree with Randy on political issues, but he nailed it. Oh, boy, oh, boy.
Colors
Anyway.
of the wind with a 10 spot. Thank you, Kim. We will deal with those at the end of this magical time together.
So the big question here, Mark, was the world waiting for a prequel to the wildly successful but increasingly tedious Hunger Games movies?
Apparently, based on the fact that you call them increasingly tedious, the answer would be no.
Well, the studio bean counters and the Hunger Games super fans sure were. And so we have The Hunger Games, The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes, which presumes to tell the tale of how future dystopian North America came to embrace the Hunger Games, wherein tributes from various downtrodden areas of the country are brought together to fight to the death, with the winner earning rewards for their home district. So, set years before the adventures of plucky tribute Katniss Everdeen, the character played by Jennifer Lawrence, that catapulted her to megastardom, The Hunger Games, The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes is essentially an origin story for Panem's, that's the name of our future North America, Panem. It sounds like an airline, but no.
It does,
it's supposed to.
Okay.
Anyway, so the nasty bastard of a president, Coriolanus Snow, played by Donald Sutherland in the original films, is here played by Tom Blythe as a young man. And young Snow, whose once proud family has fallen on hard times in the capital city, is striving to raise his status as a future leader, and that would be helped by mentoring a tribute in the emerging Hunger Games, which, by the way, are overseen by the embittered games maker played by Peter Dinklage. We love Peter Dinklage. And also overseen by a crazed, snake-charming scientist played by a scenery-consuming Viola Davis. And, this is a woman of Academy Award level skills, and she goes to town here. She actually has this kind of frizzy gray wig. She looks not too much unlike a mental patient, someone who's escaped from some kind of sanitarium. I was a little shocked, but I was also amused. In any event, so this is the situation. Snow's protege at the games, which are emceed by a particularly slimy guy played with demented gusto by Jason Schwartzman, who, by the way, steals every scene he's in, is singer Lucy Gray. And Lucy Gray is portrayed by Rachel Zegler, who had her first big break as Maria in Steven Spielberg's West Side Story. And Lucy Gray sings and performs. There are musical interludes in this thing. It's like everything but the kitchen sink. There's slaughter in the game space. There's song and oh my God, there's lots of song and dance. There's beautiful vistas when our hero and heroine are on the run. But ultimately, I was like, this is product. It's well executed. I'll be honest, Mark. I've been a little resentful of the Hunger Games because I know they ripped off my proposal for the Hangry Games, wherein starving contestants fight one another to the death for the honor of eating an In-N-Out double cheeseburger. And I mean, that's seriously animal style. I don't know who heard about it, yeah. But they ran with it, and I feel a little ripped off. So maybe that's where the resentment comes.
Wow. This doesn't work for you, you're telling me. Okay.
Yeah, Rachel Zegler is good. Jason Schwartzman is good. Again, Viola Davis is hilarious. But you got to be a fan of this stuff. I was not impressed, to be honest with you. And also, there's a heel turn that happens with young Snow, and it's not really earned in my book. So anyway, if it's your thing, it's in theaters. Again, the cumbersome title is The Hunger Games, The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes.
Dystopian, I'm told from Tom, who is a ding word, and you also uttered protege, which he wants to ding, which I agree with. Okay, go ahead.
All right, fine, whatever. Okay. Generally speaking, I loves me some Taika Waititi movies. What We Do in the Shadows and The Hunt for the Wilder People were wonderfully offbeat comedies. And Thor Ragnarok, his first Marvel Comics movie and the absolute funniest in the entire Marvel Cinematic Universe, and especially his Academy Award-worthy Jojo Rabbit, were both exceptional. But his second MCU movie, Thor Love and Thunder, was a step down, and now he's brought us a formula, underdog against the odds, sports comedy, Next Goal Wins. That's okay. Is it the least of his filmography to date? Yeah, maybe, which doesn't mean it's bad. It's just not much beyond its feel-good mechanics. So it's based on a true story about a hapless soccer team from American Samoa, which they refer to as Samoa, which I guess is the proper pronunciation. But I like to say Samoa the merrier, so I'm not going to change my pronunciation.
Oh, my God. All right.
Anyway, this team becomes such an embarrassment to the local sports council that they bring in a bulky but talented American coach and former player to try to turn around the team's fortunes. Okay, how bad was the team? They endured an embarrassing 31-0 FIFA loss in 2001. That's right.
Wow.
Their opponents scored
in soccer.
Yes, in soccer.
31-0. Okay.
31 goals in one game, and they couldn't get a single ball into the net. Anyway, despite its comedic thrust, largely gleaned from culture clash, fish out of water elements, and the requisite humor derived from athletic incompetence, it's an intriguing story that includes a good multicultural cast in a tropical location, and that cast is led by Michael Fassbender as Thomas Rongen, the downtrodden coach assigned to whip the American Samoan team into shape. By the way, the players depicted include a skilled trans player who was part of the real story, so not just an example of inclusion. So Fassbender's role here is oceans away, I mean, literally, from his cold and calculating character in the current thriller, The Killer, but he's up to the task. Plus, there are supporting turns from Elizabeth Moss as Rangan's ex-wife and Will Arnett as Rangan's rival, not to mention Waititi himself in a mildly amusing cameo, and mildly amusing kind of says it all. Things move along as expected with Waititi in charge, although it's worthwhile noting that he did not write the screenplay, which is pedestrian compared to his other truly idiosyncratic stuff. Next Goal Wins is not a waste. It's okay. I just expected so much more from Waititi considering his track record. On one hand, Next Goal Wins is a remarkable true story. On the other hand, I think I'd rather have watched the 2014 documentary of the same title, which is out there available for streaming, I am sure. So, Next Goal Wins in
little
theaters.
Disappointed, it sounds like, but yeah. Requisite, Tom says, is a ding word. Yeah. Okay, go ahead.
All right, how about a much, much better sports-oriented movie that is actually available to be seen on Netflix? It's called Naiad, and it's the true story of the distance swimmer, world-class, Diana Naiad, who won all the awards. She's an amazing marathon athlete.
She has a tie to the Bay Area, I think, doesn't she?
It's entirely
Maybe
possible.
Not. I don't know. I think I remember kicking her around San Francisco. But anyway, go ahead.
I didn't speak with her personally, Mark. I just didn't. Anyway,
okay.
you'll remember in her 20s, she had done everything as a marathon and distance swimmer and won all the awards and broken all the records. And she said the one thing she wanted to do, I'm not going to call it a white whale. The one thing she wanted to do was swim from Havana to Key West. It's like 101 or 102 miles. It's almost impossible. No one thought she could do it. She was young. She was strong. She had conquered all of these worlds in athletics, and she decided she would try, and she couldn't do it. She failed. So by the age of 60, Diana Naiad is a well-loved commentator on ABC's Wide World of Sports, you know, the thrill of victory, the agony of defeat. She's always there for Olympic coverage and what have you. And she's kind of retired from swimming. And she and her best buddy, who has been an incredible source of support for her, are, you know, talking. And Diana says, look, I'm 60. I'm going to give this a try. I'm going to try to do it at 60. What I know at this age, my experience, the way my mindset has changed, I think I can do this. And she proceeds to try to actually swim from Havana to Key West in the mid-2000s. And it's actually 110 miles. It's a crazy thing to imagine. This movie is up close and personal with Naiad, played beautifully by Annette Bening. And man, she must have really put a lot of training to good use here, because you buy her totally as this phenomenal, albeit aging athlete. And her best buddy is played by the always wonderful and always welcome Jodie Foster. So you've got Bonnie Stoll, who has been recruited as coach by Naiad, and Naiad gathering together a crew led by a navigator played by the terrific British actor Rhys Ifans. And they are going to try to do this, something she couldn't do in her 20s that she tries to do in her 60s. It's powerful. The relationship between Bonnie and Diana is wonderful to watch and see develop. And it's just a really remarkable story, well told, filled with determination, friendship, and love. It's what a sports movie should be, I think. There's emotional content. There's amazing athletic achievement. And these two actresses give their all. Wonderful film.
Wow. Now I'm excited to see it. It's on Netflix, or where is it?
It is. It's on Netflix. It's been in theaters, I believe, but only in a limited way. And it just dropped on Netflix last week, and I finally caught up to it. Naiad is definitely worth your time. Of the first three films we've discussed, it's the really, really good one.
Oh, wow. Terrific. Jodie Foster is just so terrific. And I guess, between Annette Bening and Jodie Foster, you have, it's like the greatest band on earth.
Right.
Watching them.
It's actually it's the Simon and Garfunkel of actors.
Right,
I don't know. They're so good together. And I brought that up, by the way, because there is a version of The Sound of Silence. One of the things Nyad does as she's swimming these distances is she likes to sing a song in her head over and over and over again, which is kind of.
How
there's
long
a lot of,
does it take to swim from Havana to the Florida?
A long time. It's a couple of days, at least 2 or 3 days.
Wow, that's sick. Oh,
it's amazing. And I just want to tell you, you feel Diana's pain while you're watching this stuff. It really is, and you're rooting for her. And I'm not going to tell you whether she got there. Anyway, it's a matter of public record. But I have to say, it really is an amazing story, beautifully told.
Well, Michael, and I ask you, Kim and Tony, do we have time for one more? Kim maybe will have to dance out. I don't know what's going to happen. Tony, do we have time for one more?
Let's do one more because it stars one of your favorites.
Yeah. Okay, go ahead.
Okay, although Dashing Through the Snow, the first full-on Yuletide-oriented release of the season, stars Lil Rel Howery as
Lil
a black...
I know you love him.
He plays a black Santa Claus figure.
Love
it. Rapper turned actor Chris Ludacris Bridges as a non-believer grappling with his feelings about Christmas. I just want to warn you, it's not a remake of either the 1974, 2006, or 2019 movie Black Christmas. Although, yes, it's a very Black Christmas. It's, by the way, that other movie was in all three cases a horror film, not anything about the African-American experience of the winter holiday. In fact, you know what? There's very little snow in Dashing Through the Snow since it's set in Atlanta, Georgia. In any case, it's a fluffy and disposable but harmless comedy that has all the substance of tinsel, even if it also has the energetic charm of Howery as a guy who might either be a master of breaking and entering or the real Santa Claus. That's your choice. Anyway, Howery is a lovable, genuinely talented comedic actor who is like a way less obnoxious version of Kevin Hart or Chris Tucker. Bridges is Eddie Garrick here, his foil, a social worker who wants to get this red and white clad guy, Nick, as in Saint Nick, of course, some psychiatric help at a shelter, although Eddie's estranged wife, Allison, a thankless role, by the way, played by Tiona Paris of the Marvels, has left their bright and cheerful 9-year-old daughter, Charlotte, in his care for Christmas Eve. This is pertinent since Charlotte might very well be at risk because a corrupt local congressman, played by Oscar Nunez of The Office, has sent 3 of his goons, including, by the way, snarky stand-up and actress Mary Lynn Raskob, after Nick for reasons that are designed to create chase scenes and random action. The movie is directed by journeyman Tim Story, who has done better, but it's kind of hard to hate on, even with its ridiculous contrivances, because of Howery's charm and optimism. Still, there's very little here. Nonetheless, Dashing Through the Snow is streaming now on Disney Plus, and it is the first of the Christmas films of any note.
Contrivances is a ding word. So it sounds somewhat disposable, but also with its own charm. You've got Lil Rel and you've got Ludacris. It's Dashing Through the Snow. With finally the real story. Santa was black, and I don't understand why the hell everybody can't finally embrace that.
Dude,
fact.
This is like Jesus Christ. Jesus Christ was a Semite. He was from the Middle East.
No kidding. It's, we're all black, and why we can't realize it, I don't know.
He didn't have blue eyes. He was tan.
Nyad was also reviewed by young Michael Snyder, the culture blaster, and Nyad he likes. In fact, of all of the films that Michael Snyder has offered for our review this week, Nyad is the one he recommends most heartily. It's on Netflix. Next Goal Wins, the true story of the soccer team that once lost, I guess, what was it, 31-0?
Oh, it was it was in the 30s.
Yeah, something like that. I mean, that story he likes. He felt more could have happened in that story. So while he likes the story, likes the movie, he doesn't totally love it. It fell short of the goal, might you say? You see what I did? Yes, thank you very much. No. The formula was so blatant. It just, and it wasn't
crazy funny. I mean, Watiti has made some films that I really laughed out loud. This was just pretty much, boilerplate stuff.
That's in theaters. The Hunger Games, The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes. He says, well, if you need another Hunger Games sequel, here it is. But despite all of the names attached to it and the efforts, which are the best, it, again, doesn't quite measure up.
Yeah.
So,
by the way, noted, directed by Francis Lawrence, and well directed, well acted. I just was like, maybe I'm just over the Hunger Games. I'm hungry for something else, Mark.
no, I see what you did. Michael, we love you. Go Niners. Go Warriors. Warriors definitely have some headwinds. Sharks are winning. And did I leave anybody out? I don't think so. Michael, we will look for you soon across social media as the Culture Blaster. He comes and goes on a rainbow. Bye-bye, Michael.
Happy Thanksgiving, everybody.